Welcome back. It's just after 7:30 p.m. on the dot. It's time for the Car Talk segment one. Tonight we're talking about the motorcycling industry, and motorcycle safety is one of the topics of discussion tonight. Tonight I speak to Hein Jonker, who's the founder and chief instructor as well. And also, we're going to be talking to him about the MSI. Now, the Motorcycle Safety Institute of South Africa is a leading organization on motorcycle safety, risk awareness in South Africa, and they conduct advanced and skilled rider courses, road captaining courses, group safety training. That's something I want to talk about corporate level, etc. Now, this was founded by Hein Jonker back in 2015 as an independent and private non-governmental organization. Right? Now, there's an increasing network among the MSI, which is able to aid and support those who share some of those visions. To talk to us a bit more about the safety, about motorcycling industry and motorcycle crashes in South Africa, I welcome now the founder of the MSI and chief instructor, Hein Jonker. Good evening, Hein. Welcome to Salam Media and Friday Night Live with me, ST.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the time you guys putting into creating some awareness around motorcycle safety and awareness. It's something much needed in this country, and something I probably end up still fighting until the day I go someplace, you know.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, as they say, cool enough sin daigotul mode. At the end of the day, every soul will taste that. But yeah, having said it, welcome to the program, and yeah, thanks for taking the time. Okay, first things first, a brief background. I mean, you are a media technologist by trade. So obviously, I see obviously you will have experience within the ICT field, similar to me, printing and workflow systems to corporates, right? I've been there in the industry. When did this whole motorcycling thing for you begin? Were you a youngster back in the day riding KTMs and making noise with scrambler motorbikes and then got involved? I mean, was this a passion for you? I mean, surely you must have started at quite a fairly young age. I want to get a brief about who you are before we get into some of the MSI objectives, etc.
Yeah, I started riding when I was 14. That's about, but I'm going to give my age away. So it used to be a government secret.
Okay.
But I started riding about 37 years ago.
Okay, and, so obviously a military man back in the day. I'm sure. Yes, I can tell by the stoutness of the physique. So yeah,
yeah, been there, done that. Yeah, so I started riding when I was 14, and when I got into the military, also rode there, had some training there. But I think I taught the instructor more than what he could teach me back then.
Okay.
And funny enough, I think I only rode one KTM in my life. I heard you mention KTM before. So yes. I'm not a very big fan of that brand. Nothing wrong with the bike.
Hang on. Let's not spoil the friendship now. Why aren't you a fan? Why? Like, do we always have to do this?
Okay, there used to be a thing going on about Kawasaki.
We'll get to KTM, and no, I'm not a brand ambassador for KTM motorcycles. Just by the way, I'm not wearing a KTM T-shirt, and no, I'm not. Well, I used to ride a KTM, but having said that, continue. It's fine.
Yeah, nice. All right.
So yeah, obviously now you trained in the SA military, and then you went on some academy corps, I'm sure, and then you've done some off-road training, as I understand, right? I'm getting an idea that you prefer more Japanese motorcycles, Yamaha, Hondas.
No,
picking up. Yeah.
For me, anything with two wheels, as long as it moves my soul and not my body necessarily. But I've been on quite a few bikes over the years. Back in the day when I still had a little magazine called Bike Talk, I started testing and doing bike reviews and so on. And yes, I've been sponsored by Honda South Africa now for about 15 years. But I've been on Harley. I've been Harley's exhibition rider for Harley Davidson South Africa for 4 years, doing all their trick riding, the stuff you see, all the cone riding and all that kind of stuff. And I've been on over 300 different motorcycles in my life. testing and riding.
Wow.
Not all my own, just
Okay.
testing bikes. So and the Honda thing happened 15 years ago almost, and yeah, I was back then. I was sponsored. I was the brand ambassador for Bill motorcycles, and at the same time, Honda SA came to me, and they made me their brand ambassador as well. Had my candle burning on both sides, and yeah, and then the Buell thing ended. That was only going for about a year, and I continued with Honda ever since. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Now, having said that, Mr. CBR fanatic, let's go into, and you know why I'm saying CBR, right? Now, having said that, the MSI that you formed back in 2015 and in November 2015, what was the reason behind forming this, and what was the vision that you share, and some of the objectives that you hope to achieve or have achieved rather since its inception?
Yeah, when I started Bike Talk, started that in 2005, I think. It was only a small riding school. There was nothing really happening down here in Durban. And a year after that, I started the magazine. So I saw a real gap in the market down here. But my real passion was training and helping other people, riding better and so on. And I did my training and my skills development over the years from America and from on local soil through BMW and so on, and through Honda. And when I sold Bike Talk about 3-4 years ago, before that in 2015, I started MSI, and the passion just snowballed. And I decided, listen, there's a real demand for focused rider training and skills development in South Africa, and there were no breaks. Hein Jonker from Arrive Alive, we are good friends, and I often consult on everything motorcycles for Arrive Alive. We often do Q&A interviews and talks, and the articles are published on our website and on Arrive Alive's website. And yeah, and then training-wise, and I've launched the first Road Captain's Guide also quite a few years ago, and that's now being used in Russia. It's translated to Russian. It's used in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and across the country. My training manuals are used by academies that we help establish across the country, instructors that we train and certify, and they use our training manuals for their riding schools, making sure that we kind of establish and maintain a high standard of training, especially on those riding schools we help establish. On existing ones, we are there for support, and if they want to further their instructors, we step in and we help and we train those instructors up. And I often do research and development, testing new techniques, write safety articles, do videos on motorcycle safety and skills development. Just keeps on going.
Now, you mentioned the riding schools, and I'm looking at Gauteng. I mean, there's quite a lot here. There's Adesa, there's the one at the Coca-Cola Dome, Learn to Ride. There's one in Harties, which is obviously a BMW accredited one called Open Rider. In Swartkops, obviously, that's out in Pretoria. I see you've got that one there.
Swartkops is stopped. The Swartkops one is stopped. There's no more training at Swartkops from BMW side. Yeah, during lockdown last year.
Was this from 2021 or was this like last? When did
last this year? Last year with lockdown, when things started lockdown, quite a few riding schools pulled tight. Found it very difficult, and that's where, because of my background in media, we went online with video techniques and helping people train.
So obviously, COVID played
it played a big role for everyone. We could even see that the training side took a dip, so things are really tough, I think, for everyone out there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's changed the dynamic. I mean, it's a game changer. across the board, right? Now, I
Yeah.
want to talk about apart from your motorcycle riding schools, etc. How to start off a riding school? What are the requirements? Let's say somebody wants to be listed as a motorcycle riding school academy.
Yeah.
Let's say somebody in the south of Joburg, north of Joburg, maybe in some town like Kuruman, or I don't know, northwest, maybe some oak sitting in, I don't know, Boshoek, wherever it may be, Tabazambi. He wants to set
Yeah.
up I mean, maybe he's got, the pedigree and the experience.
Yeah.
What are some of the basic requirements if I'd like to start up a motorcycle riding school? Firstly, talk to me about that.
Well, so first, can I just take 3-4 seconds to get a battery plugged into my phone here because it's going low on battery. Can
Okay.
I just go for it? 2 seconds, just
Yeah,
get
sure.
the battery plugged in. Give
Take
me a
your
second,
time. You
please.
can even take 5 seconds. No problem. No pressure. So I'm talking to Hein Jonker. And yeah, we're getting all charged up for this segment, car talk. Well, he's mentioned bike talk. Hey, man, guys in this background studio, we need to rename the segment bike talk. I like that. And we're talking about how to start up a riding academy in a riding school. Okay, how to apply for one, what to do, and how it all works. And Hein is going to give us more input into that and what it takes to start up a riding school academy. And also now, Hein Jonker and his team, they offer motorcycle skills. Now, among the motorcycle riders, there is a lack of proper motorcycling skills. If you feel you've got everything that you think you know it all about. And I know some of the viewers have been to Pakisa out in the Free State, wherever you are. Comment below, send through your WhatsApps 0617660355. You can interact on the Facebook Live page or on the YouTube platform. Comment below, send through your feedback. Let's hear from you. How do you feel when you're out on the circuits as well? And yeah, well, hi, now that we've got you back, we were
Thank you.
talking about starting up a riding academy, right? And I'm just taking people through because I know some people have gone out, as I mentioned, to Swartkops, or they've been through to Kailami. They've been,
Yeah.
I mean, they might have been to Pakisa, very famous one in the Free State.
Mm.
Let's talk about how to start up a motorcycle riding school or an academy. Having the experience, what are some of the requirements? Maybe somebody is an instructor right now, or somebody is a rider and feels like, hey, you know what? I want to diversify and get into this here, or they might see a need the same way you saw within your geographic and demographic area. What would the
Yeah.
requirement be for that?
Well, over the years, 15 years or so, I've trained just over 3,700 people from all across the country and from overseas. And the question I ask most people that wants to get into the game of training other people is, what is your biggest passion, motorcycles or people? And if the answer is motorcycle, then this is not for them. Passion for people comes first. If you want to be a good instructor, you need to have passion for people first, for life on two wheels. Motorcycle comes second. So that out of the way, you need to look at your geographic location. Do you have a network of dealers, motorcycle dealers? Because that's where you will go to go and say, listen, guys, I do rider training. I'm here to help your customers. And it's good to also form a partnership with these dealers, whether you ride the brand that you are going to that dealer for. Like, so you ride a Yamaha, you go to Yamaha dealer. That'll be my first stop. And then from there on, make your rounds to other dealers and make yourself known. Personal marketing of yourself. It's very, very important because if people don't see what you believe in, they will not believe in you. And then, get the word out that you are starting to do rider training. But most importantly as well is there are a few things that you need to have in place. Training grounds. Where are you going to do training? And a piece of grass,
That's the thing. What's the requirement specifically for a training ground? How many kilometers would a premises require or lease out for this?
Yeah.
What type of track? How to design a track? Maybe what goes into all of this?
Yeah, if you want to do obviously a training, you need to have a proper prepared or a safe environment. In other words, you don't want to have people walking through the place. You don't want cars to drive through the place like a public parking area. It needs to be safe for the people that you're training in. But yeah, I'd say if you want to start training beginners, people who've never ridden before, or people that's maybe ridden 40, 50 years ago and the kids are out of the house and they want to do a refresher, in other words, you're good up to go about to a basic rider course, which means that the riders will be able to ride at about 50, 60 kilometers an hour when they do some of the maneuvers up to that speed. Then you need an area of about 80 meters long by about 50 meters wide. That's a perfect spot. But these things are hard to come by, and if you do get them, like for instance, close to Gold Reef City, some of those big overflow parking areas or big casinos, they sometimes have overflow parking for when they have a big event there. So one can approach those places, and they come at a pretty penny sometimes, and sometimes you get lucky and you get these places for free. And then you have to have ablution facilities, and you also have to have an area where you can get people refreshments. So it's good to form a relationship with, let's say, for instance, a mall. The mall might have a dead parking area on the roof somewhere, and you can support their people inside to supply you refreshments. And it also helps with the mall, with their marketing and their PR and whatever. So a good piece of like a tar surface or concrete surface, hell, not grass. And if it has to be grass, then it needs to be a clean piece of grass surface, like a rugby field, hard, not soft, but no without potholes. You don't want to put people on potholes when they start to learn how to ride bikes. And then cones, and you have to have refreshments on the day. So I'm going to go into those details, but yeah, good surface, and obviously decide what kind of courses you're going to present. Beginner, basic, skilled, advanced. You need to do that on a place like Giratech, for instance. You can do track schools. You've got Pakisa, Red Star, and those places.
Okay.
I think football is getting
Now,
old.
I want to go into a bit more world-class advice, right, for the skillful operation of motorcycles. Let's get more in-depth. Your training and your offerings, right, is braking. Can you explain to me, and I want to understand the friction zone. Why is it a key to riding a motorcycle? Because that would obviously entail clutch, right? Obviously the clutch, etc. These are some of the basics that we obviously need to know about. But then also, I want to talk about your through the curve, because that's what I really enjoy. And I follow some of the guys on YouTube, and they're flying through it like 200 to 300 kilometers per hour, man. Just a split second and they're gone. Anyone can ride a motorcycle in a straight line, but when it comes to the curves, take us through this training experience that you offer.
Well, when I still used to do track schools down here in Durban, before people started saying that 800 Rand for a day is expensive, I said, well, by all means, please go to Pakisa and see what that's going to cost you for 2-3 days out of the system. But anyway, so corners, like you said, everyone can go fast in a straight line, but when a bend comes up, you see brake lights, you see people hitting and going straight out the bend. They're not getting the apex right, don't know what is apex, don't know what counter steering is, don't know what is a racing line, don't know what is a delayed apex, and all that kind of thing. So all that comes with our advanced training when we teach people how to do cornering and how to pick a line, how to read the vanishing point, and how to counter steer properly. Because we know some people think that counter steer is only this way or that way, but there are 3 ways of counter steering, and then there are maybe one of the 3 that is the best and correct way. And we teach all that on the advanced course. So going through a line, the first thing you should do is easy in, faster out, wide in, tight out. That's the first little rule of taking a bend.
Right.
If number 1 is scratch off some of your speed, because if you come in too fast into the bend, you know what happens. They either hit the brakes, they have a low side, or worst case, they hit the back brake and have a high side. Or they go straight through, hit a car.
So would you rather prefer to delay the entry to a curve? Like maybe, delay your entry when you're entering a curve rather? Would that be better?
If you know how to read the bend, or you need to know how to read the curve. In other words, the first thing you should do is this bend a nice easy one? Is it a tight bend? And how do you read that? You look at the vanishing point. The vanishing point is that point that disappears halfway through the bend, like behind a ridge or whatever, where you can't see the bend going anymore. And that vanishing point, if it stays close to you, the bend is tight. If the vanishing point runs away from you, the bend's busy opening up. And that way you can determine where your apex will be and when it's time for you to change your line and come in from a wide, hit your apex and go out. Or if you're hot into the bend, you hit a delayed apex. difficult to go through these things on a chat like this, but the key element of any bend is take it easy in, and on your way out, as you lean into the bend, open up your throttle. Drop a gear, for instance, as well. Drop a gear. Always good to, when you drop speed, to drop a gear, because you want that torque, the power, to be on the back wheel. That gives you traction to come out of your bend. But if you're in a high gear and you try to throttle it out, there's very little power, and your bike will just stand up and you'll run wide. And that's when people start hitting the back brake. So it's just all downhill from there.
I want to go very quickly, as we're pushing for time here. What are some of the objectives of the MSI? Because I understand, obviously, you monitor. Look, man, there's so much to discuss, but that's for another segment. And when you do come up to Joburg or whatever the case is, maybe we can, discuss and maybe go on a few rides and, do this live in person. But what are some of the MSI objectives, the Motorcycle Safety Institute of South Africa? What are some of your objectives? What are you hoping to achieve? I mean, I see you monitor motorcycle crashes, right?
Used to do that for 4 years, and I've had enough sleepless nights and enough early mornings talking to paramedics and get the details that you guys don't see on social media.
I'm
to kind of fish out what happened with this crash or collision, and where did it go wrong, how can it be avoided, and put if those figures into analyzed data and present that to Road Accident Fund. They sometimes give us a call or mail through the legal system.
I have a question, though. I have a question. So how many crashes have you had?
Me? 2. One on the farm many years ago, and I had...
It's fine, Mr. Jonker, you can be honest.
Yeah, okay. And in about 2008, I wrote off the Buell I was sponsored by, the 1125R. Okay. I had quite a serious crash, collision in Durban here, where it was all my fault. It wasn't the fault of the driver of the Hyundai H100 pickup truck. I changed lanes too quickly, and he didn't see me in his mirrors because I went through his mirrors and over the lane so quickly. And by the time I came to his right-hand side, my front wheel by his back wheel, and we know that's the death zone, he changed lanes. And all I could do is, on the brakes, bring the bike back, put the bike down. The bike went on, crashed into the back of the van, and I hit my head back hard, skidded, ended up on my face, and I only woke up about 15 minutes afterwards. Unscathed, not a single bone broken, nothing. My kits, everything helped me to stand up from that crash without anything broken or damaged. Yeah, and that's about it. So I only had about two crashes. One collision and one crash. One I crashed on my own on a bench bike.
You've got all the stars. Clearly, you've got all the skills, and you've got all the skilled rider wings, right? Now, when it comes to the skilled rider wings, I want to talk about this here, ordering your skilled rider wings. Take us through this. These are awarded to people or riders who have attended and successfully completed the advanced rider course, right? So this is only valid for people who are registered. Or how do you qualify for this yet? And then how do you book an advanced rider course? Do you go onto to your website, or who do we get in contact with? Yourself? How does this all work?
To get the skilled rider wings, it's an initiative that myself and my committee thought of to bring in to reward people for committing to proper training. And to get the skilled rider wings, you need to do the advanced course and the skilled rider course to be able to qualify for those wings. And then that's it. From there on, if you want to do refresher courses afterwards, it's fine, but you need to do those 2 courses to get the wings. The advanced rider course, we do that mainly here in Durban, at our facility in Durban, and on invitation up at Geratech in Pretoria. The skilled rider course, we also do conduct this across the country because we don't need such a big facility to conduct the skilled rider course. And we've recently developed a new course called the Urban Rider Course, which is specifically geared to those people who commute every day and find themselves riding in traffic for business or for work and pleasure and so on. And that's based on our accident stats we collected for 4 years, that we determined that the biggest risk to motorcyclists are the urban dynamics of other traffic and other road users. and we wanted to address that specific risk. So I developed this course to specifically address people riding in those kind of conditions. And this course is available to all the instructors and riding schools that we've trained and certified across the country.
Now, Hein, costing wise, how much would this cost a person? How much would it set you back?
For what? For training?
Yeah.
Advanced course, yeah. Well, based on the facility. So advanced course in Durban, and I think Gertech will be the same price. It's about 1,500 for the advanced course. 2, I think. I haven't revised my price in a long time. It's about 1,000 rand for the skilled rider course. It also depends on the venue. If we don't have to pay for the venue, in other words, a club or a group of bikers or motorcyclists arrange for the venue, then the venue is at their expense. If they get it for free, then it costs the rider then a lot less, because I don't have to absorb all the operating expenses. Like our road captains courses, the club or the councils, they get the venue and they sort out the catering, and then that ends up being about 300 rand per person, because the training is subsidized to their members and road captains.
Right.
And they just pay for my day fee to come up and conduct the training. So it really varies. And also in Joburg, you get on the riding schools or academies are a lot more. It's because of their venue. Their operating expenses are higher than what mine might be, or someone from PE might be, or from POF Udder or whatever. So it depends on the particular riding school.
Okay. Now, I see you affiliated with Guardian Angel, Think Bike, My SOS, Hein Jonker, obviously your media house. But I'd like to talk about your auctions for charity. Take me through this initiative, and what exactly are you hoping to achieve here? So you have some items you choose to auction off. Where are they attained from, and then where do the proceeds go for? Is this to fund your MSI, or is this to fund community? How's it work?
No, definitely not to fund MSI in any way. I'm funded mostly by myself and my business, Hein Jonker Media House. And if I have to go out for training, people pay my instructor's fee, and the rest is there's nothing profit for MSI. But this auctioning thing, it's like if people have gear that they donate, or they want to give to MSI, but they don't have money to give, then they might give a helmet that's been sitting in the cupboard for years, never been used or whatever. So it's people's own riding kit that they want to get rid of, and they give it to us as a donation, and then we'll auction this off, and whatever funds we raise, that money will go to a charity at that particular month. So end of each month, the funds we raise will go to a specific charity that my committee, we pick a charity, and it goes to that committee, to that charity, wherever they are in the country.
Yeah. Awesome stuff, man. Now, lastly, Hein, I want to talk about the e-ride, right? And this is an attempt to reach more of your riders, where perhaps no training is offered. Yeah. How do you give a online platform offering free courses? And I want to know, in theory, how does this apply to people beyond being, physically in tune with riding? Explain to me this concept.
All right, e-ride, we started this also a couple of years ago. I get these things when I lie awake 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I get this little brainwave, and that gets me up. And e-ride came about, and I spoke to some of my committee members, and we obtained a sponsor to pay for the software that I used to develop this online platform. I developed that myself, but the software had to be purchased, and SPA Motorcycle Owners Group stepped forward and they said, Hein, are you going to charge for this? And I said, nope. And they said, we'll sponsor. And they paid for the software, and I just put in the time and developed the platform for people to conduct training, so that you register, you do the course, it's some reading material, you do a Q&A, a quiz at the end, and if you pass, in other words, above 80%, so pass mark, you get an electronic certificate issued to you saying, there we go, there's your certificate for introduction to motorcycle safety, and it's no proof that you can go and ride now. It means that if you want to further your knowledge, that you should go and use that information and go and seek practical training. It's theory in application. You can use that theory that you've learned and go and apply it. And if you want to really advance your skills more, then go and seek proper practical training. Because there's a lot of places where we don't have riding schools or academies, and e-ride addresses that little gap. And hopefully that'll encourage people to see, oh goodness, I failed the test. Oh, maybe I should go and seek training. It actually serves as an encouragement to people to seek proper training.
Okay, very
And
interesting.
so far we've done about over 1,200 people who've done some of our courses online. So it serves its purpose perfectly.
The numbers are increasing, I'm sure. I mean, obviously being a free offering. But having said that, it brings us towards, wow, man, you're pushing for time, man. There's so much to talk about, but time is of the essence. Your message to people before I let you go there, with regards to safety and the safety in the life of a driver, rider, and also, people take for granted the delivery motorbikes, man.
Don't get me started on delivery bikes. They are like with us, we have that one person in the family that spoils it for everyone, or while the majority tries to set a good example. So even delivery riders, you get some bad ones, and then you get some really good ones. And in this week, I had a delivery rider sitting behind me. I was in my car, and he was sitting on the wrong spot. He was sitting to my left of the vehicle, and honestly, not too many people use the left side of your mirror. So his headlight was off, and so it was also bobbing left and right, as if he's wanted to overtake me. Eventually, I get to a traffic light. He squeezes through, filters through, no problem with that. And I followed him to Checkers, where he stopped, and I said to him, "Bud, let me share some of my 2 cents with you," and gave him some tips as to where he should be sitting behind a vehicle, and definitely not so close as what he was doing. And he apologizes, but don't apologize to me. You need to apologize to yourself for making these mistakes, but now you know better. Get it done. So we try and invest a lot of time and effort into that community, the delivery riders and so on. And my advice really is our motto for MSI, in any case, is change the way you think, and you will change the way you ride. If you change your attitude and be more absorbing towards change, change comes from within. So first point that finger to yourself before it gets pointed to someone else, say someone else's fault or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, well, you've got to look at yourself first. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, as they say. But anyway, Hein Jonker, man, it's been awesome having you on the show tonight. We are pushed for time, unfortunately. There's so much more I'd like to discuss, but for another interview, man. Have an awesome evening, and keep safe. And thanks for creating much more awareness to our so-called bike talk segment, as you mentioned. It's something which we are definitely going to be following up with. I'm sure definitely come in the new year. Mr. Jonker, Hein Jonker, thanks so much to you, your organization, your media house, your sponsors, and everyone who made this possible. We appreciate it. Have an awesome weekend. Take care.
You too, and thanks for your time, and to your listeners as well. Thank you so much, Arfaz.
Anytime. Cheers, man. Pick up. That's Hein Jonker, who's the chief founder and instructor at the MSI. MSI being the Motorcycle Safety Institute of South Africa. And for all of you who are interested, go on to msi.org.za, have a look and give a brief look at a bit more insight with regards to the academies that they offer, motorcycle safety, risk and awareness in South Africa, the motorcycle crashes, and also analyze the valuable data. And also they offer free online courses, which is made up of advanced and skilled rider training, road captain training, and group safety training. But that and everything else that you want to find out, you can go on to msi.org.za. And that brings us to the end of the hashtag Car Talk Bike Talk segment. It's now just after, it's exactly 8:10 on the dot. Coming up next, I'm going to be speaking to Floyd Zungu about his Knights Academy in a few moments or so. So stay tuned and keep it locked to Salam.